response to the looming issue of government possibly implementing mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations into South African society in early 2022, Dear South Africa has announced that it will embark on legal action opposing such mandates, and this is motivated by public input it has received. So this morning we're joined by Rob Hutchinson, who is the Managing Director of Dear SA. Rob, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So we understand that Dear SA is opposing mandatory vaccinations. Tell us why.
Well, we feel that it should be up to the public to decide whether they want to take the vaccine or not. It should be up to freedom of choice through informed consent. So there's a lot of science on both sides, on the pro-vaccine side and on the vaccine-free side, that supports a good argument from both sides. Plus, we've seen evidence that the vaccine is not effective against the new Omicron variant. So therefore, we don't feel that the public should be forced to take an ineffective vaccine that might not stop the spread of COVID-19.
Your campaign showed 150,000 participants signed against it. Is that just from the anti-vax community or across the board?
It's across the board. So we're not running a petition. We're actually running a proper survey where anybody can put input their saying or their feelings and decide or let us know whether they want to or whether they support mandatory vaccines or not. So we've seen about an 80% against mandatory vaccines and about 16% who support mandatory vaccines, and the remaining 2.61% are neither support nor are against it. They're indifferent.
You say that it's against the democratic right, to force this vaccination. But what about the rights of those who have vaccinated but can't reach herd immunity because of the non-compliant citizens who would rather witness mutating variants every few months?
Well, again, that's up to the science to decide. We've seen science there that shows that the mutation is occurring because of vaccines, and a lot of media reports are showing that the virus, the new variant, is present only in the vaccinated or majority in the vaccinated. So again, we'll have to prove in a court of law if Section 36 of the Constitution is viable, which states that government can act in the best interests of the public in this case. However, we'll have to prove that mandatory vaccines are in the best interests of the public at large.
Big companies have started putting in measures to force the issue. Do you think if vaccine hesitancy wasn't so high, they wouldn't have had to go to that level to implement such measures?
Definitely. It seems to be a push from government onto businesses, big businesses, for reasons we're not quite sure. And it's more of a coercive drive and a threat than what it appears to be more of a coercive drive and a threat rather than a safety measure for fellow employees.
As you indicate that this is a survey, and is there any indication from your survey at this point that will people really be willing to leave their jobs in this tough economic climate and high unemployment rather than just get the jab?
Well, again, it's about the threat, and judging from our survey, 81% of people are opposed to mandatory vaccination. It does appear to be the case. I'm sure it will be taken up in labour courts and with the CCMA, and those matters will be dealt with in that arena.
So, Rob, what happens next?
Next, we continue with our survey. We're going to keep it open for a while until government does announce it. Government is currently preparing a draft policy paper, which is being put together by the President's task team on COVID. And when that is actually published for public comment, we'll further extend our campaign and then use that as evidence in the upcoming court case. Should government or should Parliament vote in favour of mandates, then we will take the matter further using the evidence at hand.
Rob, the survey has been really useful in getting a feel what the public feels like on the issue. We certainly appreciate you sharing the information with us this morning.
Thank you very much. And yes, we do encourage people to continue on it. You can have a look at the interim results and download a PDF of all the comments, which will be available today, and go through it yourselves.
Certainly. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
And you too. Cheerio.
So this is insight onto a survey. 150,000 participants signed against mandatory vaccinations. What are your thoughts on the issue of mandatory vaccinations? We'd like to hear from you, bringing us on to 3 minutes to 8 Central African time.